Hey guys. So, which one of you wants to write my paper for me? Because it's definitely due Thursday by noon, and I've made a lot of headway today, but I've also watched the extended version of The Fellowship of the Ring and all of the bonus features. um, so clearly that hasn't been the exclusive focus of the day. I did leave the house because I ran out of coffee, and this is an emergency, so I rushed to the grocery store and I bought ground coffee and a bag of potato chips and 2 bottles of champagne. Because I'm a grown-ass woman and I can do that. So here I am procrastinating. And I did not drink the champagne because I know there are some of you who are thinking that, but I'm actually saving it for post-exam celebrations. You can't see behind me, I don't think. Let me see if this will happen. Okay, so there's my dry erase board. There's my finger in this video. And the last day, which is Thursday, the only thing written there is be drunk. So my dry erase board says that I'm allowed to be drunk on Thursday, so I'm prepared. So anyway, that said, because that's what you do in grad school, you sit on your butt in the same chair day after day, pretending to write papers, and then you drink a whole lot and try to convince people that you're smart. Or maybe that's just my grad school experience so far. Anyway, that's not what this video is about. I'm making a video because I got some books in the mail, and I thought maybe you'd want to see, and more importantly, I don't want to be writing a paper, so I'm going to show them to you. And it's sort of funny because the last video I did was on Totemism, obviously, and I completely forgot that I had even ordered this book, which just goes to show how brain dead I've been in the last week. So I got 3 books, 2 of them by the same author. I've read a couple of her other books, but I picked up the 2 that I hadn't and thought I would give you guys a peek. So the first one, it's called DIY Totemism by Lupa. For those of you who don't know Lupa, she is, I don't know what you would call her, or what she would call herself necessarily, but she writes a lot about otherkin, and I guess you'd call it contemporary animal shamanism, maybe. Anyway, she's great. Her website is thegreenwolf.com, and she's got a shop on Etsy too, where she sells recycled animal parts for use in ritual. It's really, really interesting. And anyway, I thought I'd give her book on totemism a whirl. The subtitle is Your Personal Guide to Animal Totems. And, of course, since I just got these, I have not read them, so I cannot personally endorse them. But her book on otherkin was really fantastic, and I expect good things. So, but it's just funny because I ordered the book because of a conversation that I'd had with a coven mate about totems and animal guides a while ago, and anyway, I just totally spaced on it, and it came in the mail today, and I was like, oh, funny, universe, haha. The other book, also, it's an anthology edited by Lupa. It's called Talking About the Elephant, an anthology of Neopagan perspectives on cultural appropriation. None of you guys have heard me rant about this, I don't think. So for those of you who don't know, cultural appropriation is sort of the process by which one group of people will take beliefs, customs, traditions, dress, etc. from one group and sort of absorb them into their own, usually without context. And it's very, very controversial, and an example of this would be well, for example, the use of totem animals. There's the argument that this is an American Indian practice, and it's just privileged white people coming in and absconding with something that isn't theirs and misinterpreting it and using it to their own ends without properly crediting the source, etc., etc. And this isn't me necessarily advocating that view or whatever, but that's essentially what cultural appropriation is. Another example would be yoga, for example. This is going to get me in trouble. There's an argument because, yoga is a spiritual tradition. It's related to Hinduism, and it's not an exercise fad, okay? But that's how it gets treated in the United States. It's very much, without maybe showing a little bit of my own bias here, what I've seen of yoga in the States has been really devoid of any kind of real spirituality. And that's not to say that you practicing yoga is bad or not spiritual or whatever, but I think as a whole, the purpose of yoga in the United States has shifted from maybe as it was originally practiced, if that makes sense. So that's another form of cultural appropriation or spiritual appropriation. One group taking something that means something very specific to one group and applying it without context to their own ends, essentially. So anyway, back to this here book. This is a discussion of that, a collection of discussions on that. So I'm assuming that the title, talking about the elephant, is a reference to the saying, the elephant in the room, like there's something big and hulking that's obvious in the room but nobody wants to talk about, which is something my family's really good at doing. Anyway, so that's book number 2. Book number 3, I'm super excited about, and this is kind of lame because it's actually for school, because this is what I do in school, because school is awesome. This one is called Male Witches in Early Modern Europe by Lara and Andrew Gow. I am doing an independent study next semester on historical witchcraft in medieval Europe, and I'm going to, I think at this point, I'm specifically going to focus on male witches, just because there's this prevalent idea that the witch hunts were about women and patriarchy, rah, 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 that kind of stuff. And I don't think that's necessarily the case, just because a sizable percentage of the people who were persecuted were men. Hi, Georgie. You hear him? So cute. You want to come up? You see the people. It's really just the computer, but people are watching. He's really cute. Anyway, I get to spend next semester reading about witches, which I'm super excited about, because that's what I do anyway. Anyway, I know. So this is what I'm doing instead of writing my paper. George is kind of smelly because he just had a flea treatment. Didn't you? We trimmed his nails earlier. The fact that I would rather trim my cat's nails than write for school, I think, is indicative of the situation. Right? Right? Yeah. Anyway, so that's what's going on. And if you care, I'll tell you how the books are later. But not this week, because I will be writing a paper and being drunk.